The River Thames, known alternatively in parts as the River Isis, is a river that flows through southern England including London. At 215 miles, it is the longest river entirely in England and the second longest in the United Kingdom. After the River Severn, it flows through Oxford, Reading, Henley-on-Thames and Windsor. The lower reaches of the river are called the tideway, derived from its long tidal reach up to Teddington Lock. It rises at Thames Head in Gloucestershire, and flows into the North Sea via the Thames estuary. The Thames drains the whole of Greater London. Its tidal section, reaching up to Teddington Lock, includes most of its London stretch and has a rise and fall of 23 feet. Running through some of the driest parts of mainland Britain and heavily abstracted for drinking water, the Thames discharge is low considering its length and breadth. The Severn has a discharge almost twice as large on average despite having a smaller drainage basin. In Scotland, the Tay achieves more than double the Thames average discharge from a drainage basin that is 60% smaller. Along its course are 45 navigation locks with accompanying weirs. Its catchment area covers a large part of southeastern and a small part of western England. The river is fed by at least 50 named tributaries. The river contains over 80 islands, with its waters varying from freshwater to almost seawater. The Thames supports a variety of wildlife and has a number of adjoining sites of special scientific interest, with the largest being in the North Kent marshes and covering 5,289 hectares. The Thames, from Middle English Thames, is derived from the Brittonic Celtic name for the river, Thamesis, and Middle Irish Tauman, dark grey. The origin is shared by many other river names in Britain, such as the River Tamar at the border of Devon and Cornwall. Several rivers named Tame in the Midlands and North Yorkshire, the Tywey on Dartmoor, the Teme of the North East, the Tywey and Teme of Wales, the Teviot in the Scottish borders, and a Thames tributary, the Thame. Kenneth H. Jackson has proposed that the name of the Thames is not Indo-European, while Peter Kitson suggested that it is Indo-European but originated before the Celts and has a name indicating muddiness from a root *tha, melt. Indirect evidence for the antiquity of the name Thames is provided by a Roman potsherd found at Oxford, bearing the inscription Thamesabagus fecit. It is believed that Thamesabagus' name was derived from that of the river. Thames was referred to as a place, not a river in the Ravenna cosmography. The river's name has always been pronounced with a simple t. The Middle English spelling was typically Thames and the Brittonic form Thamesis. A similar spelling from 1210, Thamesium, is found in the Magna Carta. The Thames through Oxford is sometimes called the Isis. Historically, and especially in Victorian times, gazetteers and cartographers insisted that the entire river was correctly named the Isis from its source down to Dorchester-on-Thames, and that only from this point, where the river meets the Thame and becomes the Thame Isis, should it be so called. Ordnance Survey maps still label the Thames as River Thames or Isis, down to Dorchester. Since the early 20th century, this distinction has been lost in common usage outside of Oxford, and some historians suggest the name Isis is nothing more than a truncation of Thamesis, the Latin name for the Thames. Sculptures titled Thamesis and Isis by Anissimo Damere can be found on the bridge at Henley-on-Thames, Oxfordshire. Richard Coates suggests that while the river was as a whole called the Thames, part of it, where it was too wide to ford, was called *Loonida. This gave the name to a settlement on its banks, which became known as Londinium, from the Indo-European roots *plu, floor, and *ne, river, meaning something like the flowing river or the wide-flowing unfordable river. For merchant seamen, the Thames has long been just the London River. Londoners often refer to it simply as the river, in expressions such as south of the river. The river gives its name to three informal areas: the Thames Valley, a region of England around the river between Oxford and West London; the Thames Gateway, and the greatly overlapping Thames estuary around the tidal Thames to the east of London and including the waterway itself. Thames Valley Police is a formal body that takes its name from the river, covering 3 counties: In non-administrative use, the river's name is used in those of Thames Valley University, Thames Water, Thames Television, Publishing Company Thames and Hudson, Thameslink and South Thames College. An example of its use in the names of historic entities is the Thames Ironworks and Shipbuilding Company. The administrative powers of the Thames Conservancy to control river traffic and manage flows have been taken on, with some modifications by the Environment Agency and, in respect of the TID,